Hello and welcome to Between the Lines, the show where I give you my opinion of what's on the sporting bookshelves at the moment. If you've got a book that you'd like me to review, we'd love to hear from you. And there is the email address on your screen now. It is sportbetweenthelines@gmail.com. Now, don't forget to like us and please subscribe, and we will try and bring you all the latest in sporting books. We're concentrating on books available in South Africa, but of course, many books are published in different parts of the world, and they make it here through our local distributors. And today's book is one of those. Here it is, How to Win a Grand Prix by Bernie Collins, with Maurice Hamilton, published by Quercus, distributed in South Africa by Jonathan Ball. In the shops and online now, you should expect to pay 450 Rand. There's a Kindle edition available on Amazon for $10.99. There's also a hardback edition, but this is the paperback. Now, the subtitle of How to Win a Grand Prix is From Pit Lane to Podium, the inside track. And essentially, this is the story of Bernie Collins' career as an engineer and strategist in Formula One. And for those who don't know her, Bernadette Collins is from Northern Ireland. She studied mechanical engineering at Queen's College, Belfast, and went straight from there to McLaren Racing in 2009. She's also been with Force India and Aston Martin, and she now works as a Formula One analyst at Sky Sports in the UK. As for Maurice Hamilton, he's been writing about Formula One for half a century, starting with The Independent and The Guardian and Observer in Britain. He's written biographies of James Hunt, Eddie Jordan, Frank Williams and Damon Hill, and he's a commentator on Formula One for BBC Radio 5 Live. This is his 21st book. Let me give you a quick précis of How to Win a Grand Prix. It begins with a brief bit of biographical background on Bernie and then launches into a forensic discussion of how Formula One is seen through the eyes of a team's chief strategist, the job that Bernie began with Force India in 2015. Now, each chapter deals with a different aspect of strategy, and the second half of the book is devoted to analysing the 3 days that culminate in a Grand Prix. We begin with free practice sessions 1, 2 and 3. We move on then to qualifying sessions 1, 2 and 3, and then the race itself. The penultimate chapter tells the story of Bernie's one and only win as a strategist, the Sakir Grand Prix in Bahrain during the COVID season of 2020. Now, let me digress at this point and confess that Formula One is not my game. Indeed, I struggle even to accept that motorsport is really sport at all, although I admire the courage of the drivers and the exceptional marketing that's given it such world prominence. And in the last 12 months, I've reviewed a number of books on the subject, including this fine biography of Enzo Ferrari, The Formula, Total Competition and Formula One Racing, all of which were rewarding reads. So let me say something about How to Win a Grand Prix. Unlike the others that I've just mentioned, this is not a crossover book. And by that I mean that to get the most out of it, you have to be a dyed-in-the-wool Formula One fan, which I am not. If pontificating on which tyres to use and how many pit stops to make in the race gets your blood pumping, this is a book you might enjoy. If not, move on. Well, for most people, I think it's fair to say that Formula One is all about the driver, but this book is really devoted to the hundreds of people who make up the team that enables the driver to get behind the wheel in the first place. It's significant that right up until the final couple of chapters, Bernie hardly ever mentions names. The man in the cockpit is merely the driver. And only when he makes mistakes that affect the strategist does he get named. And for all you Lewis Hamilton fans out there, I checked the index and your man gets mentioned precisely twice. So this is not a book about personalities. It's about data streams and how they contribute to the overall race strategy. How long does it take for a car to take a pit stop, or box as it's known to Formula One teams? The answer is not the approximately 1.8 seconds that the crew takes to change the wheels, but the 30 seconds lost as the driver slows down, leaves the track and then rejoins it. In the ideal world of the strategist, a Formula One car should run out of fuel as it crosses the finish line. That would mean that the analysts have put precisely the right amount in at the start of the race. Too much, and the car is too heavy; too little, and it runs out before the finish line. The job of the strategist is twofold: to pull the data streams together and come up with a plan for the next race, and then to throw all your planning out the window when Sunday arrives and it's cold and wet instead of hot and dry. I'm being flippant, but I have to admit that the bits of the book that engaged me were exactly those moments when Bernie has to make decisions in real time. In an attempt to give the reader an idea of what her life is like, Bernie talks a lot about the inconvenience of air travel, trying to get fed early in the morning and late at night, and putting your social life on hold for much of the year. Unfortunately, these digressions don't really add to the book. So let me go about rating How to Win a Grand Prix. Well, for a start, the title is a little bit of a misnomer. 8 years as a strategist with 1 win, and that, due to the favourites retiring from the race, isn't a great return. Admittedly, it marks a welcome break from the triumphalism of a team that wins all the time, and I suspect a more equivocal title would simply have been rejected by the publisher. As much as I understand the structure of the book, I think that the endless meetings and discussions of minutiae get in the way of what could have been an interesting read. The final chapters, where we actually get Bernie's commentary on the race, are too late in the book to engage the reader's attention. So with the caveat that I'm not a Formula One fan, I think that even people who structure their lives around being in front of the TV for practice and qualifying will find it hard going. 3 out of 10. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like us and subscribe. See you again next time.